Okay, we're up here on Grace Lutheran Church in Coopersville doing a roof inspection. We're on the back upper slope right now. It's the first thing we'll show you. You can obviously see from the ground these black streaks here in the shingle. That is algae. Algae that mixes with the dirt in the air and it sticks to the moisture areas of the roof and starts to grow from there. It doesn't do any real damage to the shingles, but it just looks kind of ugly. So what a lot of people do is they'll treat this with zinc or copper and they'll try to kill it and clean the roof. I don't know if this is coming through or not, but there's quite a lot of black streaking and algae. I noticed over here on we're on the eastern exposure. This is a Certainty landmark shingle, I believe, and it's got signs of aging, wear and tear, excessive granule loss in some cases. Like you can see down here, you get a little bit of this where the granules are pretty much all wore out and displaced. You can see some more excessive where it's just basically down to the asphalt layer underneath, and you can see fiberglass showing through here too. Just normal signs of an old roof. I'd say it's a little bit more excessive on the back slopes here than on the front. So stuff like that, just normal wear and tear. You've got a ridge vent up here, which is good. It's a little bit outdated kind of ridge vent. We can put a better performing, higher profile ridge vent up there for you, get a little bit more ventilation in the attic space, which might help you improve overall energy efficiency. Walking back over here to now we're on the west facing, obviously there's the parking lot. Again, more algae growth up here, and wanted to come back to the east side down here just a minute because I want to point out the wall here. Right where the shingles hit the wall, you've got a piece of flashing called step flashing. We would have to replace that and maybe pull up some of that siding just to make it nice and watertight. Usually if you have a leak on a roof, it's going to occur at a termination point like this. We'll go down here and look at these can vents real quick, and I'm walking kind of slow because there's a lot of granules that are displaced, and it might be kind of slippery. But these can vents here, this is another form of exhaust ventilation like you have up at the ridge with your ridge vent. So I'm not quite sure what these go to. They might have an appliance hooked up to them. They might have another small attic space in this vicinity that they're trying to isolate and ventilate, but we'll want to just make note of those and ask you guys what those are going to. I noticed you had a couple of pipes on the roof. These usually go to a toilet or something similar. These have the original rubber boot flashings around them, and the rubber wasn't really that durable. It didn't really hold up too much. It looks like this one's been caulked a couple of times. You can see it had a nice split in there where the rubber split. What we like to do on these is put a aluminum base flashing, and we like to slide a cover over top of this to protect the new rubber gasket from any kind of UV exposure or weathering. Also kind of dresses up the pipe. I noticed a lot of these shingles, now granted it's a really long run, so it's hard to keep it perfectly straight, but a lot of them are spaced out kind of big, which is just a little installation error where this shingle should have came down to cover up this little ledge here. You know, like here it's a nice clean, and then this one's all of a sudden spaced out larger. Sometimes people did that to try to lessen the material needed for the job intentionally, and sometimes it's unintentional, just with a long run like this. You can see these are spaced out here a little bit big, here a little big, and the seals are starting to break on these things. You can see there's a tar strip under there, but that tar strip doesn't last forever, and the seals are are starting to come up, which again, it's a normal thing. Yeah, see, just excessive spacing here again with the shingles. So, and just in walking on your roof here, I noticed that in several different areas on the roof. So, all right, let's walk back over to the front. We'll check out your valleys down here. Yeah, on this ridge vent, on this your carport, I think it is, or you know, the covering the walkway here. This ridge vent is stopped about 10 feet from the edge. We like to run that ridge vent all the way to the edge, or at least within a couple of feet, just to fully open that up for ventilation. Now this side, this southern exposure, which is usually the side that gets the most abuse, this is excessive wear and tear. I don't know if you can see it coming through my phone on video, but I'm just looking at it here. Excessive granule loss, and the wear and tear is a lot worse. But obviously this is the side that gets the most abuse from the sun, so that's why there, you know, again, this reoccurring issue of the spacing of the shingle is prevalent there. I was gonna go look at your valleys. Let's check those out. Those looked like they were done okay. And with the valleys, we do a closed cut valley, same way. We like to offset it a little bit further up, maybe a couple inches further up to the dominant side, so that any water drainage that you get is not gonna go inside the seam. But we do our valleys very similar. Instead of using a knife cut though, we do a factory edge, whereas we turn a shingle on its side and we run that shingle all the way up the length of the valley. So it's a nice clean factory edge. That's pretty much it. We didn't really get into talking about the gutters at all, but those seem to be situated pretty good. So they've got the hidden hanger system, and they're seamless aluminum, so should be nice and solid. That one's ponding a little bit of water, so that one might have a slight drainage issue. You might have to just readjust that a little bit to drain a little better. But that's pretty much it. That concludes the roof inspection. We'll go down and see what we've got.